Middle school was definitely way worse.
Yeah. Middle school was off top.
Maybe mine is A, probably different, and B, I'm probably misremembering a little bit too.
I feel like our middle school years were a little different than everybody.
Yeah. We like grew up next to like a sludge factory or something. Like,
They were literally experiments out of a kid. And that's why it shut down.
It's shut down now.
Experiments are over.
And fucking all the kids who went there, like half of them are like drug addicts. Literally, like half of them.
You say they were doing experiments. What kind of experiments?
Some type of behavioral experiment with the water, yo. We were fucking out of control. Like, literally out of control.
Yeah, that's going to be like...
People would fight the security guards.
I fought the security guard one time.
It's going to be uncovered.
Did you win?
They jumped me at the end. I was doing pretty good. Like, I was doing so good that they had to bring another motherfucker in to help the security guard.
Look,
that was enough for me at 13.
You went to the next level, and that was the next part of the wave. You had to fight two at a time.
And then, hold on. So this is how crazy school was, right? He stole my basketball after telling me to clean. And I was like, I'm not cleaning, bitch. I'm playing basketball. He took the basketball. I was like, all right, motherfucker, give my ball back. He wouldn't get the ball back, so then I go to proceed to tackle him. We're fighting in the lunchroom in front of everybody over this ball. They throw me down the steps to get the fight over with. I smacked my head on the ground. I had a little swollen here. I tried to punch and miss, crack my knuckles open. They take me to ISS after this. I'm like a little woozy, you know what I'm saying? I'm still out of control right now. I'm trying to punch people still and shit. I'm like, fuck this. I hate all you guys. They sit me down, right? They're like, after I calm down, they're like, all right, look, we're not going to suspend you. We're not going to call your parents. We just don't want you to say anything about it. And I was like, I'm not going to call my parents.
Deal.
You're not going to suspend me? You got a deal, man.
It's a good negotiation.
The motherfucking security guard kept his job after literally assaulting a kid. Literally, I would slam him, and then he would pick me up and slam me, and then I would go up and slam him.
That's fucking that's some Wild West justice right there.
Hey, that was crazy. We both got our anger out. He came, he shook my hand after. He was like, hey, you're pretty strong, man. I didn't think you were about to be that strong. I was like, yo, you wasn't about to bitch me in front of everybody. I got a reputation to uphold.
You fucking touched gloves after a boxing match.
It pretty much was that.
I love how it turned into a bro moment in the end.
I mean, that's how it has to happen, you know what I'm saying? That's how normally fights happen, unless you're just a real bitch, you know what I'm saying? You get it out of your system, and then you're like, all right.
In 30 years, we're going to get MK Ultra style documents
about McKinley Elementary.
That's
old were
we
you
were
when this
putting
happened?
7th grade, 6th, 7th grade.
How old was he? Roughly?
Had to be 30.
Yeah.
Look, Gibson.
they found
he's the same motherfucker that kicked me out of the goddamn. Well, he tried to kick me out of the goddamn.
When you were stripping?
When I was stripping, yeah.
Stripping at a kid day.
I was stripping at a kid day.
But for a 30-year-old to go to a 7th grader hey, you fight pretty good. What's that say about a 30-year-old?
It's like something from an anime.
Yeah, it's something from an anime.
From Fight High School.
I mean, but we were a crazy bunch of he used to be around the neighborhood too, so he knew shit that was going on. We smoked blunts with the security guard after school.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At the lunch lady's house. We're at the lunch lady's house smoking blunts with the security guard. They know we're just wild children. Yeah. They know there's he knows that if he didn't respect me, there might just be 7 kids running up on him after school to try to beat his fucking ass because we're out of control wild kids and they're experimenting on
I'm just saying there's gonna be documents where it's they found the note, they found the tone that induces mania in mice or some shit. They just played that over the PA all day like an inaudible fucking frequency.
That makes sense.
It would make sense.
Because shit
was
was
the amphetamines and all the fucking drinking water.
No, that's really what it was. They were putting drugs into our milks. Being some of us fucking love those milks. I used to drink 3-4 of them a day.
The milk and the water stuff.
Hipsters. This week we're going to be talking about the Rajneesh cult. If you're unaware of them, it's a cult that took over a small town in Oregon. There's a Netflix documentary on it called Wild Wild Country. Today we're going to be talking with Antoine, Zach, Connor and Jeremy.
Do you think if we keep saying the word Netflix, they'll sponsor us?
I kind of hope so. Like at this point, we're just kind of making our content based off what their content is. Anyways, Netflix, what's up?
I mean, we've done it twice.
You should pitch a show, dude.
Yeah. I ever since Midnight Gospel came out, I've been like, well, you guys could just animate our podcast. That's no big deal.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys had like
just tell them that
no contacts with Pendleton Ward, no like not deep into the entertainment industry.
everybody on the podcast is willing to do a sketch show for Netflix.
Oh, absolutely.
For essentially free,
Dude.
like give us all like 20 grand. We'll all probably do it. You know?
We got to start pitching Means TV, man.
Grand?
We gotta get
Don't
on.
undershoot us like that, man.
Look. If it gets me exposed to millions of people, I'm with it. 20 grand, whatever.
We got to start getting on socialist Netflix.
Has any good content come from Socialist Netflix yet?
Yeah, there's some good shit on there.
Okay.
Means Morning News,
What is
Street Fights
Socialist
getting
Netflix?
It's just a Means TV. It's like a streaming thing that's doing it's co-op, it's worker owned. That's doing content that's so far it's mostly like documentaries and political stuff, but like they got a news show that's kind of like a socialist-ish daily show type thing that's like funny with characters and stuff. And Street Fights getting a show on there, and they got some good stuff. A lot of it right now is just independently produced documentaries that they're producing.
So what you're saying is we need to get in contact with Means TV and be like, let us make funny content for you. like not even political content, just like content.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, we'll do. We'll get a spec script for a prestige TV drama. It's going to be like...
I got a spec script for a pilot of a cartoon.
You just pay someone to animate that.
Yeah. If y'all can just, get that working.
I've done the hardest part of the work, which is making the script. If you could just animate it and voice it. And,
I'd voice it.
Okay, yeah.
I'd voice it.
Jeremy's going to do a one-man show every character.
Hey, fuck it.
It's been done worse.
I'll bust out the different characters. I'll get the Alex Jones type.
I'm pretty sure they're not going to let you do that.
It doesn't have to be Alex Jones. He can be just
Alex
Jones'
Bones.
voice.
Alex
Exactly.
Bones.
Exactly.
I don't know if we can keep on promoting Alex Jones, man. He says he's neighbors.
Fuck yes, bro.
That's not very...
That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the Rajneesh season, right? Again, Wild Wild Country documentary on Netflix. Anybody who wants to give the brief overview? And anybody want to give the brief overview of like?
I feel like we should just walk through the story.
Walk through the story, okay?
And then comment while we're walking.
Episode 1, there's a cult.
He's right.
They started in India?
They did start in India.
Yeah, it was in India.
Uh-huh.
They started in India.
They're called the Rajneeshis because they follow
Bhagwan Rajneesh.
Rajneesh. It's just Rajneesh, I believe, right?
Yeah, just Rajneesh.
Yep, just Rajneesh.
Oh yeah, they're the Rajneeshis.
Bhagwan.
Bhagwan.
It's a good title. It's a very good title.
Is Bhagwan a title or a first name?
It's his name.
I think
If
it's
you look him up, it's
title, actually.
Bhagwan Rajneeshi. Because I did look up, I want to know, what coming up was.
Pretty sure Bhagwan's a title.
That's how they list him, though.
Yeah, you'd say Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Like you put a...
or Pope
But
Alexander.
you can't become a Bhagwan.
The last I checked, I'm not getting a PhD anytime soon.
He doesn't have a doctorate or anything like that.
I mean, you might be able to become a Bhagwan if it's a title.
Yeah.
You might just be able to
Just become a Bhagwan?
Okay.
If I can become a Bhagwan, I'm doing it. Flat the fuck out.
I'm about to look up, how does one become a Bhagwan?
Yeah, because he was born Chandra Moran-Jan.
And he changed his name to Bhagwan?
Yeah, he has quite a few names, so. Osho is another one, Bhagwan.
So all I know...
I don't think you could just become a Bhagwan. I think Antoine's right. Because if you search Bhagwan, which I spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Because
got an H in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I searched Bhagwan. Bogwan, and the first thing that pops up was how to become a bog walker. Just to throw that out there. But even with my horrible spelling, it still just pops up stuff about the Rajneesh.
Because I didn't hear anything the whole time about them calling anybody he's the only Bhagwan.
All right, so
Bhagwan, man.
wasn't that what the guy from Tiger King went as?
What?
Wasn't he a Bhagwan?
Yeah, Doc Handle, the other cult guy.
It wasn't Bhagwan though.
Okay.
No, yeah, they called him something else.
It was something similar.
It was. I literally.
All right, I've derailed this. Okay, yeah. So there's a thread. There's a 3 line here.
He I can't find any information on how he became so rich,
Okay.
but he was like when he was booming, his peaking, he was making $1,000 an hour.
You think he had like family money?
He was worth $100 million.
I don't think so.
It's Bhagwan.
Bhagwan.
The Bhagwan. Maybe he wanted to be like the Bhagwan.
Yeah.
And like he's trying to get there, but he never really made it. You know what I'm saying? He does have like a little city.
Well, it's like when you level up, you can change the V to a W. You get like
I'm just a Bhagwan now.
buy an extra V and you put it up there.
It's like your military stripes.
Yeah.
You're changing the letters.
See a guy with 8 W's in his name, you have to bow.
He's the Bhagwan.
And then when you prestige, you can start all over, and then you can go through the order again, just a little faster.
So as any cult leader, the Bhagwan was engaging in sex with underage women, and that's how he got his co-leader, Sheila.
Wait. Sheila wasn't underage when he was fucking her, I thought.
She was like
brought to
16.
his house when she was 16 or 15.
And then like
To
he
be
told
given
her
to him.
that you are now going to be my wife.
Yeah. The
And-
dad was like, you are meant for the Bhagwan.
Everybody was cool with it.
That's
He
wild.
raised his daughter to be the Bhagwans.
Oh, I was
Hand delivered, the Bhagwan was hand delivered this young lady, which he turned into a savage.
he did turn her into a savage.
I don't know if
Yeah,
he's
she
the
was
one
like
that
a
turned her into that. I think
Or
it's
she
just
just
more like
naturally had that savageness in her.
yeah, I
That's
think
what
it's
I
just
felt too.
she was given the opportunity to fully become such the monster that she eventually turned into.
Yeah, she gave
I
me
feel
real
like she was a monster. I
like.
feel like she was just like a good leader for her people.
She gave me like
For a
corporate
little bit,
vibes.
but then-
Yes, if she was like a fucking Nestle lawyer, they'd 100% own all of the fucking clean water in the world.
Yeah,
at this
for
point.
sure,
Yes,
for
like-
People are lucky she didn't just go get a corporation job, because that corporation would be fucking insane right now.
Well,
They would be
here's the
rivaling Amazon.
Like, compared to
100%.
corporation or just, basically owning the entire fucking county. I mean, same vibe, really.
I mean, okay, let's stay in the beginning right now.
Right.
we're-
Let's
We're
bring it
still
back.
in India. We're still in India.
We are still in India.
The Bhagwan's booming. He now has Sheila, which he tells Sheila, like, hey, I want to leave here and elope to the United States.
This is in like the 60s, right?
Yes.
Because people were trying
70s.
to people in India were like not having the Bhagwan and his shit
Oh,
anymore.
okay. They were tired of his shtick.
Yeah.
Well, he was bringing a whole bunch of outsiders to that place, too. Like, there was
Okay.
a whole bunch of Europeans
Not
coming
to
over and
mention-
living
Well,
in
yeah,
India.
because that was the shit at the time. Is everyone was looking for like a guru and shit, and
Yes.
they were like the Beatles had that guy, and like they were all looking for some spiritual enlightenment. All the white people.
Plus, the
Yeah,
Bhagwan
that's
was
that's
also
what he
like,
built himself off of.
Okay, so that's where the money was coming in from. At a certain point, was like all the like.
all the
That's what
rich
I
people
read,
coming
yeah,
through.
was
Yuppies.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people that
Hippies at that
They
point.
said that he donated everything, but people kept on like his followers were the wealthy ones. He wasn't the wealthy one, but like he was.
He was, yeah,
He had 8 fucking.
he had like Rolls Royces and shit, right?
That was even in India. He had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
He
So-
would ride through town even then, just waving from his Rolls Royce. Everybody get all excited to see him.
Bhagwan's here.
Yeah.
Bhagwan. Bhagwan?
Bhagwan.
This is
Bhagwan is the lesser Doc Ansel.
Osho's over here.
At this point, you can see because Sheila's talking. She's completely in love with the Bhagwan, just like everybody else in India. She talks about like how when he walks up or like she sees him for the first time, his beard is like blowing in the wind and stuff, and he looks majestical.
Yeah.
So
Majestical.
dude's ultra charismatic. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't even have to talk. That's how charismatic he is. He just sits there, and the charisma just flows into the room.
But did you get that vibe from any of the footage you saw?
No.
Yeah, right,
okay.
Though they did say like during the interviews that like seeing him on like film, it's not the same as like actually being for like one of his speeches in person. But again, that could also be, the ramblings of a cult member.
Yeah, that just sounds like some people who drank the Kool-Aid.
I mean, no doubt, my dude's charismatic. You know what I'm saying? So in some way, they didn't even have that much footage of him
Yeah.
because he was doing it how you're supposed to. When you're doing crime, you do it behind the closed doors, man.
Yeah.
You don't be out in the public eye. You know what I'm saying? So he was doing it right. That's how I feel like they made it to America.
Do we have any idea of what he was like preaching at this point? Like what kind of like lifestyle he was advocating?
A lot of it was free love.
Okay.
Free love, be free. They didn't want dependency on anybody. And what the Bhagwan wanted was to build a city.
Okay.
They wanted. They were very community based too. Is like the thing. Like
Yeah, they were super socialism.
They were individuals, but they were individuals who were committed to the same goals.
Okay.
Basically, they were a bunch of ants.
Yes. Yes, it was. We all practice free love and are very sexually liberated. But like half of us are engineers, and we can build a system that is going to be better than.
I mean, also they weren't just all fucking each other. Like they said, like some people had relationships.
Right.
Just your relationship was up to you and the other person.
Okay.
There was no judgment from anybody else.
Yeah, there was
So-
no definition on who you are with and or what you.
So really, at this point,
do.
the only like creep shit that was happening that we know about was
Bhagwan being
him.
delivered.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like he had at least one child bride.
But you also have to think they're in India, and this is probably a normal thing for.
But like, how
parents
old
to
was
take
how
care-
old was he?
Who knows? The Bhagwan old
The
as fuck.
time?
Yeah. So it's
Well,
like,
let's see.
regardless of like what was going on, it's still kind of creepy. It was still pretty
I mean,
creepy.
yeah, definitely creepy. But like
He was
that's-
born
I'm saying
in
that's like part of their
1931.
culture.
So
Like they
He was
have
born when?
They have movie
1931,
festivals
so
in
he was
India
already
where
almost
they
like
give their daughters away. Like it's
late
part of what they
30s,
do.
maybe early 40s by this point in time.
But like to us, yeah, definitely the only fucked up thing we see so far is the kid delivery.
And honestly, on the level of like fucking cult leaders, I'd rank the Bhagwan at lower than a David Koresh currently.
so far, where we're at in the story
Where
now.
we're at in the story, he's definitely
He's
not.
a good dude to me.
He's not as dangerous or bad as fucking David Koresh.
So he wants to elope. They do elope. They go to Oregon.
Antelope, Oregon.
Antelope, Oregon.
Well, actually,
Outside of Antelope, Oregon, actually.
they were not originally in Antelope.
Yeah.
They were in like a rural county of Antelope where it's just like it's not even a city there. It's
not
not
a
a
city,
township.
yeah.
They're like
The
I was
closest
gonna say,
city
like,
was 40 miles away. and that
Antelope
was
wasn't
Antelope.
really like much of a town to begin with. It was mostly like a retirement community for old white people just to go somewhere that was more
But when you say
consistent.
retirement community, because nobody's seeing the pictures here, it's not a nice place.
no, yeah, it's like
it's a retirement community for like
It's
people
rusty trucks.
retiring.
It's old farmhouses that are probably like in disarray. Not to mention the city itself, township. I don't even know what you want to call it at this point. There were many abandoned buildings just because there was not enough residents there to fill them.
They were living poorly.
it was not a nice town. That's for sure.
Not a nice town. The Rajneeshis come over here on a whim from Sheila, basically. Like, basically, they take a whole group of people over here to the middle of nowhere, and they turn the middle of nowhere into a city.
They turned the desert into a fucking.
It wasn't that much of a desert, but they did take, like, bad, like, soil and shit. They revived the land, for
No,
sure.
that was actually, that's a desert. Basically, for an environment to be a desert, it's just based on how much humidity is in the air. Because you can still have a desert with snow, but it was a desert at that elevation in that location itself. And
I mean, like, technically, it was a desert, but also, when you say desert, people just automatically...
No, it wasn't like the
envision a
Sahara or, like, you know...
like the Sahara.
I mean, the bitch was sandy. Like
Which wasn't that sandy.
before they got there, it was all
Dirt.
brown.
It looked dirt.
Right. Okay.
there was a
dirt,
lot
sand.
of rock. It was
Right.
rocky land that wasn't really
But they
good for
did
farming
build,
in any format.
they did build a lake.
Oh yeah, they dammed a river. Basically, it went from rocky, like moonscape, to basically it looked like a fucking golf course that popped up in the middle of fucking nowhere.
A golf course that was actually growing food and like was essentially self-sufficient for these people.
They all lived in A-frame houses. No, it was self-sufficient. They grew all their food. They had livestock. They were doing their own thing. You know what
I
I'm
think it's
saying?
important to note now that this is 1980 by the time he actually makes it to the United States.
Yes.
So it's like, this is after a time where at least I think that like hippie commune shit is really like going off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but they were all like, the main thing that people kept bringing up in the city is they were all cool with it, but then they started having sex outside and shit. And
Yeah, basically, like the neighbors started getting like a little more justified, annoyed that like they were hearing them
yeah,
throughout
they were hearing
all
the sex
hours of the day.
noises
Yeah.
all the
night.
time.
Well, I thought that was after they moved into the city.
No, they
No,
only
that-
started
that was-
moving
that
the
was-
city after the township of Antelope tried getting rid of them.
Right. Okay. So.
Oh,
Okay.
no. So,
Here's what happened.
You're right.
Here's what happened. You guys are wrong.
It was the construction.
You guys are wrong here. What happened was they were living a perfectly peaceful life on their fucking compound where they weren't bothering anybody yet. And then these fucking racist white people came and were like, hey, this land is for farming and you're living on it with too many people. And like tried to say they're going to fuck up other people's farms, which was like fucking total bullshit.
Well, no, they said that they zoned it for agriculture and they weren't using it for agriculture. That was the thing that
every single one of these is a zoning issue. That was Killdozer. Killdozer was a zoning issue.
Really?
Yeah, because he couldn't build a driveway.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like we just got to get rid of zoning, I think.
Well, yeah,
we don't, because I've seen places where they don't have zoning and it looks bad. But
the only tool that they had to try to get rid of them was the zoning. So they tried to use that on them.
Exactly. And
yeah, it is
But it was when they said they were going to build a hotel. They said they were going to build a hotel that was in a house like so many people, and they already had built an airport there.
I thought
and they were turning it into a city.
I thought the hotel was...
No, that was the one they bought. They owned that hotel.
Yes.
They were going to build a hotel in like the city of Rajneesh. They were going to build a hotel. And like they did build an airport, which like if somebody says they're going to have a farm and build an airport, you know.
Yeah.
It is going against zoning.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
But like, hold on.
You know what? This is where I get on my high horse about fucking the government and land and bullshit. I own it. I can do what I want with it. God damn it.
Yeah, but if you're the neighbor that moved out to the middle of Oregon, so you didn't have to be by people, and then now you got constant flight over you all the time.
Suck a dick. Sucks to be you.
That's what happens.
Find new land.
You would be mad though. I'm talking about you specifically.
Me? I would not. I would not give a fuck.
If we were out recording the podcast all the time, and then motherfuckers started flying planes over your shit all the time, when it never happened before, you wouldn't be mad.
Dude, this is Cleveland. We're right next to a fucking airport. That already happened.
I'm going to make a defense of zoning, and it actually is a story that goes back to India, where one of the worst ever industrial accidents happened because they had a poorly regulated chemical plant operating in directly next to a residential neighborhood that killed like hundreds and hundreds of people and probably over time killed thousands of people because they didn't have zoning that said you couldn't you couldn't build this chemical plant in a fucking neighborhood.
Okay, so I will agree with zoning for large scale things like fucking chemical plants, nuclear waste, fucking bullshit, like anything that like zoning should only be there to protect the environment is my defense of this. Like there's no reason.
They were building a city. They're gonna build plants eventually. The bigger the city gets, they wanted to build a whole city. So like what you're saying right now is going against what you just said before.
No. They never said anything
he built
about
a fucking airport. You're talking about like when it goes to big shit. Like an airport is a big shit.
No, it was more of an airstrip with some planes on it.
There was a landing strip. It's a landing strip. What is that hurting the environment, sir?
That's not the whole. I'm not saying that was hurting the environment. I'm saying what they were looking to do in the future was to build a city. Cities have factories. They just do. The Rajneesh wasn't a broke motherfucker. He owned shit. You think he wasn't about to turn this to a place where he could make money?
They never explicitly discussed any of those plans.
The
Rajneesh is rocking $1 million watches.
It sounded like he was more interested in making it like a tourist location.
That is what it sounded like for real. He wanted people to come and like pay homage to him there, essentially.
Yes. That could have been what he was trying to do. But also when you have a co-leader like Sheila, you know what I'm saying? Funds start running low, you might get some sweatshops. You know what I'm saying?
Keep in mind, like they had like I don't know if it was an unofficial uniform, but like they all wore a single color. Like
that was official.
They wore red, but it was different shade.
Yeah, there was like different variations of red, but it was just red. Red shirts, red pants, dresses, doesn't matter.
And that was supposedly Sheila's idea, not the Bhagwan.
Yeah, because Bhagwan, after Sheila was gone, was
Here's
like, whatever.
The only thing the Bhagwan actually did was
a devil.
He just like he would do his like sermons or whatever you want to call them. He'd sit in the chair, he'd like wave at them, and then like he disappeared behind the curtain. Basically everything else was run by Sheila. Sheila's the one that appointed like engineers to do construction or anything like that. She basically was more or less the one actually in charge, and Bhagwan was just more of a figurehead who put her in charge.
See, Bhagwan did it right, bro.
Are you insinuating that Bhagwan was actually in control the whole time? The whole time he was just like giving Sheila the orders and Sheila was taking... Okay.
Yeah, the Bhagwan was in control.
Let's be honest, he obviously had an upset. I mean, though, even like after his death and even after all these years, like you could see in the interviews, like she still worshipped him in some revere.
That's what I'm saying. She was not going against what the Bhagwan was saying, or she wasn't making the decision. She was carrying out the orders the Bhagwan wanted. That was what her life was dedicated to.
Well, no, that like there's also the thing though, like he didn't really care what was going on as long as things went right.
But you don't know that because there's no interviews with the Bhagwan. There's nothing with the Bhagwan. There's just when Sheila left, the Bhagwan going, "Yo, Sheila's a bitch. She left us. She's a fucking traitor. She was doing illegal shit."
Well, that's also after she botched his like attempt at suicide. So I think he might have been a little upset because like he planned on like dying in this like very Messiah like atmosphere where he would just gently pass
the behest
and then
of the fucking like Hollywood people.
Mm-hmm. And like they basically made him like a tomb. They constructed him a tomb of his own like I can't say design because he didn't do anything. I better to say his preference, but like he planned everything out, and then after he died, that was it.
I should design my own tomb before it's too late.
I know, right?
Because you can't. There's a certain point where you don't really have a say in the matter, so you gotta get it out there. Have
Okay,
something.
well, just get 10,000 people, move somewhere in the middle of Oregon, and things will just happen.
All right. So we're right. We have gotten further than what we've explained to the viewers here. So we're at the part where they're on their plot of land. They're trying to build their community.
The town of Antelope started getting annoyed that they existed. And started
period.
saying that because it's not being used for solely farming, you need to tear everything down and then get out.
Yes. So then my girl Sheila made the biggest power play ever and started buying shit all over that fucking town and fucking moving her people into the fucking city of Antelope.
This is like houses and shit.
Yeah, not even like a disrespectful way either. She was overpaying people for their properties just so they could establish.
Well, it was like $25,000 properties, and she was giving them like $50K.
They even opened up like restaurants and shit. That shut down.
Like at first, like it was just buying abandoned houses. Like I said, there weren't enough residents to fill all the buildings in this township. And then after that, they would basically just go to the neighbor and be like, "Hey, I'll overpay you." And then they say yes, and then they go somewhere else. And then those that wouldn't sell would get upset, complaining that why would you sell yourself out like that? And then they just look at their neighbor in the eye and be like, $25,000. That's the reason why I sold out. Goodbye.
I'm out this bitch. I'm going to go live somewhere much nicer. Thank you.
And this is also interesting because this is happening mid 80s. We're talking like big ass like suburban like
this is where,
like land
cul-de-sacs
developments and shit.
start.
Yeah.
This is like that. Was this the Reagan era or was this a little bit before Reagan?
Reagan was 81.
Okay, yeah. So mid Reagan era where they are basically just doing they're buying everything in a legal format. It's not like they were like counterfeiting money. They weren't selling drugs or guns that we know of. But still, they then purchased a building. They made that into a hotel. And this is kind of the point where things started going awry.
Yeah, to go off the rails. Because then...
Well, the hotel wasn't in Antelope. It was in the city outside of Antelope.
I thought the hotel was in Antelope.
I thought it was downtown Antelope.
No, I don't think so. Antelope didn't have a hotel. From what I know, I thought they only had like the store.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't think it was built as a hotel.
Like in the nearest
I think
city.
they bought it and made it a hotel.
Regardless, we're getting caught up on semantics of where the hotel
Missing
was.
the forest for the trees a little bit here.
He is good. Yes. Regardless, they started buying all this land in Antelope, and they started moving their people in. They attempted to seize control of the city council.
Seize control is like it's a strong term. They tried. They were
tried to democratically elect their city council through their own people because they
were just that many of them.
They outnumbered the actual Antelope resident, the original Antelope residents. It was like 3-1 that they outnumbered them.
I thought it was a little more than that. I thought it was almost like 4 to 5 to 1.
They did show mercy though and let one Antelope resident on the city council.
I
thought that was by the point because like immediately when they started trying to go for the city council, they fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Unincorporated their fucking city. They were like, all right, fine, you guys are gonna run the city. There is no city.
which did fail, by the way. But yeah, like
I thought they managed to unincorporate the city.
I believe that they almost did it, but they basically won by like out of like 100 votes or something, or I don't know why it was 100. It was like 51 to 49. They barely managed to keep it as a city, and then afterwards, that's when it was majority Rajneesh on the council, and the one random guy that was just on there because they didn't want to look like that they were fully taking over, which they were.
The spy guy.
That's a real DNC move, trying to unincorporate your town. It's trying to elect Bernie Sanders. Well, we invalidate the election.
Yeah, real fucking shit.
But like they then changed the name of Antelope to what? Just Rajneesh?
Yeah, just Rajneesh.
And they started changing the street names, which granted, I can see that being originally super confusing because it was like Indian street names. It went from like First Street to Radesh or something. And like, I can see it being confusing to navigate, but like, that's just something you get used to.
I think
like people that live in that town know how to get around without street signs.
You're right. But like when someone tells you, oh yeah, you just turn on this street there and you have no idea what it is. But like I said, that's a very temporary issue. You eventually get used to that.
Here's my thing about the street signs, right? I feel like Sheila and them were just trying to be petty at this point because they're like, all right, fine, you guys want to fuck with us? We're going to fuck with you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like that's what they were doing.
I believe that was also after the bombing of their hotel.
Yeah, what's going on?
After the bombing, they strapped up.
They did.
And they went back to the compound, right?
That's where they all started being like...
They always still hit the compound. They never tore down the compound.
You're right.
Okay, so I don't know the exact timeline of events with these three things, but like within rapid succession, they started buying the fucking, they became the city council people. They started their hotel up and like had it running, and they made police, like they made the police force of Antelope all Rajneeshis.
Which also had red uniforms, which is kind of weird when you originally look at it.
They changed like the symbol of the city too.
Oh yeah, yeah they did.
And they renamed the police force the Peace Force.
Hell yes.
Granted, by the way, these people that were part of the police force, they were certified police officers.
Oh yeah, they got
academy and they were
academy training. Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like they just gave them guns and a red uniform and said, "Okay, keep the peace."
Ones in the police academy training pictures with red on.
Yes.
At that point, it's like a religious thing. Yeah. A thin red line. Which is already a movie, but.
Then their fucking hotel gets bombed as well. Again, I don't know exactly the fucking order of events there, but by the time their fucking hotel is bombed, they definitely or immediately after, they have this police force, and they're now like actively patrolling the city at night and everything, shining lights all through the town, like making sure that nobody's fucking with the Rajneesh.
And granted, before even the bombing itself, non-Rajneesh residents were like threatening anybody that was wearing red. Like there was already that atmosphere of violence towards them.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely like were like actively being like aggressive.
They were like walking around with guns.
Like regular people,
regular people are like,
and like outside their businesses and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like the Rajneeshis even did anything hostile to begin with. The most hostile thing they did was they bought property and they got elected in a legal format to the city council.
Well, they did make an area a legal like nude park.
Yeah, they did.
That really pissed off the citizens.
They did start changing a lot of the laws. There was
incredibly funny.
A nude tanning park.
They were fucking all over the city all the time.
And before the bombing, one of the residents actually smashed out the windows of their little like.
Wasn't it the smoothie place or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, they turned the burger joint into a vegetarian joint.
That's the one that they smashed out. The burger joint turned into vegetarian joint, and fucking they smashed the windows out of it after they turned it into vegetarians only.
They also had a clothing store, which
only sold red.
That only sold red.
Yeah.
Also, simultaneously, Sheila is on TV talking hella shit to everybody.
Oh yeah.
About how the Rajneesh
she wasn't
are just
as hostile before the bombing, but after the bombing, like she was one of the few people on TV, especially in the 80s, that was just middle finger swearing. The whole 9 yards, which was uncommon, especially then.
Yeah, and like she was straight up like she would go on TV and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna take over your county. Don't worry, like we're coming soon to a place near you."
It is very funny because it's like they've basically like gentrified this whole town in this very weird roundabout way where it has made these like middle income white people the minority. It's capitalism, man. It's like
well, here's the thing.
Most of the people in the town only buy red clothes. The store only sells red clothes. What can I tell you?
I thought
let the market decide.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Let the market decide.
A market issue.
So I thought this is when, like, once they came into the city and all that, I think Isn't that when they tried to disband, and that's when they were like, "Well, fuck it, we'll just take the county over"?
Yeah, okay. Because I thought that the people succeeded in disbanding the count the city at some point.
No, that's when they like narrowly won by that like a couple votes, because there was just a few more Rajneeshis registered to vote compared to non-Rajneeshis.
Then to make sure
That nothing like this would ever happen again.
and they were gonna win, they started shipping in the homeless people from all around the United States.
I think that's when they started trying to take over the county at that point.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like after they once they got on this, like, we're gonna take the county over, she came up with a great idea. You know, Sheila being the savage she is. Fuck it, we got the money. We'll feed all these motherfuckers. Go start picking people up in the bus.
Not to mention that kind of goes with the whole Bhagwan's philosophy of get more people, teach them my ways, and then do whatever. I mean, that was really it. It was just be cool, have sex where you want or how you want, and then just be cool.
Most of the Rajneeshi people, from what I was reading, like, didn't even live on this compound, right? Like, there were at the height of like their fucking following, there were 100 to 150,000 members. So like, not all of them lived on the compound. So like, some people
were still in India.
Yeah, they would just send them money and shit like that, and like fucking like.
Which also makes sense because
they were set up globally.
Yep, they were set up globally.
Like, they actually pinpointed out. I don't remember. All
they started like making like, I don't want to call them offices, but like in the UK and different European countries. No, they weren't even compounds. They were offices.
It was literally like embassies, pretty much. It was like somewhere you would go and pray, but not somewhere you would live.
I was like proto Patreon. You just got all these people around, and they're supporting they're supporting creators who are making new content. Yeah, they're making content.
Yeah, he had I think it was only like 1 or 2 books, but like
I thought he had like a little series.
No, I don't think he had a series.
Except the only tiers are like most of your money or all of your money.
So anyways, fucking they start taking
shipping in the homeless people.
Shipping in homeless people. They're trying to get them all registered to vote in the county so that they can take over the county council.
So then the county was like, "Oh fuck,
we're not going to accept."
They're about to actually take over the county. This is crazy. How can we stop it?"
And then the most undemocratic thing I've ever seen happen, and they shut down the election pretty much.
Well, they shut it. They didn't allow anybody that didn't vote the last election to vote this election.
Which, mind you, at this period in time, for you to be a legal voter in Oregon, you'd have to be in Oregon or reside in there for 21 days or more.
And all of the people had.
Yeah. And that was the only requirement.
Yeah.
So they were legally allowed to vote in any election at that point in time. That additional rule they threw in was not even valid.
Right. It was honestly unconstitutional. Yeah. Like, it's like these people were American citizens that they bust in. Like, flat the fuck out. They were homeless American citizens. Just because they're homeless doesn't make them any less fucking American citizen. Point blank, period. And like the Rajneeshis were providing them a decent life, like getting them fucking to be better people, fucking getting them to work, fucking getting them food, fucking
a place to sleep,
the whole fucking 9 yards.
So unlike turn of the century ballot stuffing, this sounds a lot less exploitative to the actual like homeless people who they were like, I don't know. This
there was a bit of exploitativeness going on. Don't get me wrong, but I think your noise is unwarranted because they were fucking, while exploiting them, taking care of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, like they purposely just brought them in just so they can vote for the Rajneeshis' favor.
And personally, I have a theory that I don't think they would have kicked those fucking homeless people out afterwards if they had won the fucking election.
I think they would have if they would have just kept acting the same.
Again,
they were acting like the
homeless at this point in time.
I had 6,000 homeless people there.
They were starting to get rowdy.
Not everybody was homeless just because of economic issues. There were a lot of people that were not mentally sound. Those were the people that were like,
they probably don't have the facilities there to really deal with that many.
The exit strategy for the homeless people was pretty good too. Just take them places and drop them off.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, okay. So this is where things started to get kind of like fucked up.
This is where Sheila kind of started going off the rails a little bit.
So they drugged all the homeless people one night because
they were sedating them.
Yeah. So without their knowledge, because they would give everybody 1 beer a day, and
like at dinner and stuff.
In their 1 beer a day, they were putting sedatives because like the homeless people were acting rowdy and like starting to fight and shit, and they were all getting worried that they were about to get kicked out of the compound.
Yes, that's wild to me because I have one beer and I'm ready to go to take a nap. So like these guys must have got one beer and they still want to get going.
Hey, but they did have like interviews like of the homeless people, like they do got good beer here though.
Yeah, as they're drinking the fucking sedatives.
Yeah.
Granted, this is
Real
before
strong.
the mass like kick out
Mix a
started
Percocet
happening.
with beer, it works a little better.
After like there were still like some that were still causing issues, even being sedated. That's when that, like we said earlier, they started just busting out, or they just told them get the fuck out, and these homeless people then started residing what was Antelope, now is Rajneesh, which is just, I mean, they were loitering, which is so much of an issue. But again, when there's hundreds of homeless people outside of someone's house, then it becomes kind of an issue.
Right. Well, as far as the homeless people go, right? I want to revisit the fact that I really don't think they would have fucking kicked them out if things had gone according to plan, because then they would have like
No, they would have had much more property and land to
yeah,
get access
they
to.
would have had so much power.
I mean, they
Even-
would have kicked them out, but I feel like they would have just like built them their own space. Like the homeless would have had their little like projects. You know what I'm saying? Which is still cool. It's better than leaving them homeless. You know what I'm saying? But like they,
The Rajneeshis all
they
live in
wouldn't have kept them at
A-frames.
Yeah.
The fucking homeless people all live in tiny homes. Like,
Like, keep in mind, these A-frames, they weren't big.
I mean, they were
was
nice, though. They were nice.
They were nice. I didn't say they were bad. I'm just saying they weren't big spaces. It was basically just an A-frame building with a single door, a window, and there's two large beds that are like in the corner, and there's maybe like enough room for a dresser or something. It wasn't a full home. There wasn't a bathroom in there. There wasn't a sink or anything.
I thought there were bathrooms and like running water and shit.
I don't think they had them in the A-frames though. I think it was like
There's
when
like
you
a
go to
bathhouse.
I think it was more of that format.
I have a vision.
Again, this is a community. It's a commune, so I'm sure they shared everything.
I have the vision for a meme, you guys.
What?
It's the Virgin Waco house compound and the Chad Rajneesh A-frames. It's very because that Waco house looked like shit, and these A-frames sound way better.
These A-frames.
the Rajneesh
Some
is way better
unpainted
than
plywood ass bullshit.
Because the Rajneeshis were funded and or like backed by like rich PhD like
Yeah, not bad.
engineers.
Fucking,
it wasn't just some guys
David
who knew how to
Precious.
put
They
fucking
could have done
drywall
better.
on
They
some
had like
studs.
a Harvard lawyer in there and shit.
They did have a Harvard
They
lawyer.
did have a Harvard lawyer.
I'd say you could have stepped it up a little bit.
The Rajneeshis also had like Hollywood influence as well. Like fucking.
That did come a little
towards the
later
end.
though.
What? Towards the end. It was towards the end. So this is also what contributed to things getting like even kind of worse, was that like these Hollywood people, after the failed conquest of the county, started being a part of the Bhagwan circle and like having direct access to the Bhagwan, because like they were giving him really nice gifts, like fucking better watches than Sheila was giving him.
By the way, I think
Sheila
he was-
didn't buy him diamonds and shit because she knew he would want to keep getting the.
Yeah, because my dude had a thing for had eyes for things that glittered.
Believe at this point in time he had 19 Rolls Royces.
Yes.
What
Sheila already knew, like, fuck, nigga,
Get a
that's-
different car. Just get a different one. You
No.
already got one.
No,
you don't need 19 roll.
I mean, he drives through the dirt and he likes Rolls Royces. You know what I'm saying? So like, it gets dirty.
Oh,
it's
so
like,
you need
new one.
19?
Well, every time he goes on a ride, bro. The Bhagwan
it's like
needs
those-
the best.
It's like
The
those guys.
Bhagwan needs the best. You hear Sheila out here.
It's like those guys who only wear dead stock sneakers. Like they pull the tags on them every time they wear.
I did like how on air that like the Antelope resident was trying to call out and be like, "Oh, isn't it nice that the Bhagwan has like 16 Rolls Royces?" Sheila, without even a breath,
Not
goes,
even a beat was missed.
He has 19 as of 2 days from now.
Yeah. Ballin'. Like,
And I bet you at that moment in time, that's when she decided he's gonna have 19 Rolls Royces.
It probably was. He probably had like the direct plug at Rolls Royce. Like, yo, ship one over, please.
Yeah.
Bhagwan needs another.
Throw it on the tab.
Like, I believe at that point, like, there's probably just like a file, like the thickness of like a fucking Harry Potter book. Just
I'll tell you what, if she was going to the motherfucking same salesperson, that dude loved her.
Oh, absolutely.
He was like, "Would you like your feet rubbed, ma'am? Like, I got you." Like,
Well, he actually converted. He was a
became
Rajneesh.
I would believe that.
I'll tell you what, if
you
somebody
can't-
bought 19 Rolls Royces for me, I might be like, you know what, fine. I'm one of you guys now.
Oh, I almost
They start
completely
running ads to
forgot
one
mention.
specific segment where it's like the guy who's like, "We want you to buy our car," but he's wearing like a red fucking shirt.
So
vegan leather in this.
I just want to throw out that the nearest neighbor to the Rajneesh like compound city was Mike Bowerman, who was the son of John Bowerman, the man who founded Nike.
And John Bowerman, just want to say, Nike's cool, man. For John Bowerman, bitch.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
He was one of the main reasons they started to talk about the zoning issues.
Yeah, like his
the
son was the
Rajneesh.
one that brought up the issue, like, hey, they're just making a city over here and they're not farming. I don't like that, so can we just get rid of them? And that's
And
when
then
the
Mr.
city
Big
of Antelope
Shit
started trying to get rid of them.
Because he is the dude in Oregon, where John Bowerman was the man in Oregon, because he was like the coach of the college track team or some shit, and that's where he developed the waffle soul and became like.
I've seen that documentary. Yeah.
Yeah, that dude. So like once he started saying shit in Oregon, you know, it was like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
shit
when
has to be
it
done.
got more attention.
Oh, can we also like rewind this back to when they were just on city council and there was the guy that fucking was like the spy? He was way too pleased with himself that he was digging through their trash.
No, he wasn't even a spy. He was just digging in the trash.
Yeah.
There's a difference from being a spy. Like he was at the dump. It was like.
Isn't that the same guy?
Hey, that's some
when
different trash
interviewed,
over
you
there.
can see the
I'm digging
Rajneesh
in.
Museum that is his fucking house.
Yeah. No, it like his whole house is just like Rajneesh paraphernalia. Like,
And like they're
he definitely
interviewing him the whole time. He's like, yeah, the Rajneeshis, they were weird. I don't know how anybody had anything to do with them. You just look at his fucking wall. There's posters. There's framed pictures.
There was a picture of the Bhagwan.
Like, I think low key he was actually a member, but like he just had a keep face.
No.
To everybody else.
I don't think he was a member. I think what it was that like he was like one of those. You know how like creeps get obsessed with certain people and shit. He was just obsessed with the whole group. Like
Okay.
he was like watching them with binoculars as they were like nude sunbathing in the park and like fucking like you know what he was doing.
He wanted to be a part.
He was
He just didn't have the confidence to be a part of a real
Like,
shit.
I could never fucking asshole.
he was simping for the Rajneesh.
Yes, he was simping for the Rajneesh. Jesus Christ. My man was the first simp. He
Yeah.
was the first simp, period. If they had an OnlyFans, he was about to be subscribing, period.
Yeah, if those guys are still around, they'd probably have some OnlyFans. It sounds like from the vibe that I'm getting.
Rajneesh would have their own like.
Well, they're still
website
around though.
for only.
They didn't disappear.
Othonet.
The Bhagwan's like whole cult didn't just completely die off after like the end of everything.
That shit was solid as
Well, yeah,
fuck.
because he eventually just got deported back to India, and he just
Yes.
did it there till he died.
But like it,
Like
I mean, like
Savage.
it's still
Yeah.
around now. There's still like facilities for his teachings, and like they still have seminars, and basically it's like still selling the book.
We gotta go. We gotta take some seminars, guys. We're gonna get enlightened.
All of a sudden, me and Antoine are the new Bhagwan.
I already got the red tracksuit, so
Hey,
I'm
that's
covered.
that's like our calling. You know what I'm saying? Because like
Join a cult, rise up.
that's our niche is like there's never been two prophets.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, damn.
Yes. Now we are the two prophets.
Oh,
and like
no.
how we confirm it is like
I can see your
God has
shtick.
checked and balanced us to make sure nobody goes too crazy.
The Heaven's Gate guys had two prophets.
You shut your mouth, Connor. Get the fuck out. Leave.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
I see the shtick. One is an oracle that sees things that happen in the far past. The other one's that sees shit that comes from the future.
I was thinking more of a yin and yang type deal. In all things, there must be balance.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like God just told us, like, look, man, don't let him do nothing too crazy, and you don't let him do nothing too crazy.
That sounds like you're
If y'all
purposely
both
trying to
get acting
split the
crazy-
cult into two, but you're still working together in the end.
What better way to control people than to get them to take sides?
What? Start a civil war?
No, when we do our masses, we'll have like everybody in black on this side, everybody in white on this side.
I can see you both preaching. That side sucks.
No, they all have not Travis Hipster shirt on, right? But the one is white. They all wear white, and then the other ones wear black.
There's just a minor difference in like how the monkey's fucking drawn.
We'll just do it like this side is for war. This side is our passive side.
No, you can't have it so clear cut, like because we're balanced, right? You gotta have it so it's like these people are fucking and like just have it be barely any different for real, like they're for love and peace, and these are for
Peace and love.
prosperity and growth.
Happiness.
Yeah,
This side is more concerned about ideals. This side is more concerned about truth. Which one's more important?
Exactly. That's the way. That's the way to go with it, right?
Gonna have a warring faction based on your. One of you's gonna split off.
No, what'll happen is like we'll have because naturally a third person will rise into some kind of form of power, and he'll be like, "All right, so these guys are both wrong," and then he'll steal a portion of our people, and then he'll make the branch Yin Yangians, and then it'll be Waco 2.0.
Yeah, it's like
And then somebody's doing a podcast on us.
Yes.
Hey,
But not even on
that's
us.
how you know
We're
you've
only
made
like
it.
a footnote in this guy's podcast because like we didn't have the Waco event. We were just chill motherfuckers that had a cult going on, and like we made it through. Like we were successful the whole time until this asshole came through while we were like getting old, and he was like he took a little bit too much power, ran with it, and he took off with our people and fucking started doing some wild shit with our people, and Waco happened. Waco 2.0.
Basically,
with our people.
a random charismatic dude that read too much into your like fortune cookie writings.
Yeah. He knew a little bit too much about the bullshit that we were slinging, and he was able to twist it. So we lost power in our last few years of life.
I like how even in your wildest fantasy cult, it can't go well. There's gotta be some
It went
sort
well
of-
for decades. It's just like by the time you're
There's
like
bound
80,
to be a collapse of power.
Yeah, it's gotta fall down. It's gotta fall down.
At least you accept that now.
You gotta dream big, man.
I don't know. This is a pretty big fucking dream.
No, like the
Well,
best.
maybe ideally, hopefully, altered carbon reality happens and I'm able to just buy a new body by this point, and then in which case we'll never lose power ever because we'll be the first gods of the new world.
Gonna get a new sleeve.
Or
Yes.
Or here's what you do. You like hard back up yourself into a different sleeve. Yes, I know that's technically against the rules. Put yourself in a different body and you're that third cult leader.
Word. So I'm the young one and the old guy at the same
Yes.
time. But see, I already know myself, right? If there were two me's, I'm gonna have a problem with that other me because I'm gonna be like, he's better, and this is bullshit. We're the same.
We just tricked the listeners.
Again.
This is a fucking altered carbon cast. See, podcast within a podcast.
We've needed a Netflix pitch. This is it. But look, no, this is the young you will be the one that inherits everything else. And then the old version can just be, the next iteration of the young you. You just keep it going.
I couldn't deal with two versions of me at the same time. I already have to share my computer with my wife. I don't want to have another person who needs to
I
get in
realized
on
I
that
couldn't
rotation.
deal with this second me when I have to deal with my kid now. That like it's just turning into me.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's horrible.
Yeah, see, that's like real life. I don't like. If I could have complete control of the second me, great. But if it's another independent me, no, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yes.
I don't want it.
Jeremy's like, yes to slave clone, no to freedom clone.
Yes.
No clones be doing what they want.
What am I gonna do with that? The guy doesn't have a social security number. Like he's gonna he's gonna take my credit. I don't trust him.
It is his credit.
I'm not gonna co-sign on that.
But that's the thing. That is his credit. That everything that is yours is also his, and vice versa.
Slave clone stealing all my businesses and shit.
He's gonna have to
You
go.
mean his businesses?
Yeah, he's doing the podcast better than me somehow. He's not all burnt out. He hasn't been living for.
Look, think about it.
this
You
whole
have
time.
somebody that can help edit, that will share your same taste in where, what should be done.
No, but the thing is, he's not all burnt out. He's gonna be fucking all energetic and shit like I was when I was younger. Like,
Yeah,
No,
he's
you're not
gonna-
understanding. This is an exact copy of you. There's no extra energetic. It's the same
No,
everything.
I'm with Jeremy on this one. That guy.
it's like that Paul Rudd show that was also on Netflix.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Oh, I know what you're fucking talking about.
It's like A New Me or something like that.
Yeah, where you're supposed to get rid of all your bad, qualities and everything.
There's too much shit on Netflix. You're making this up. You're tricking me.
I'm not.
No, this is real.
No, this is real.
So like the
And it's
premise-
entertaining.
It's actually a
I
good
said
show.
this idea, and then like a couple weeks later, it was on Netflix.
Yeah, okay. He says he said this idea, but it was just like he was like
It's on recording, motherfucker.
He was like, what if you seen yourself sitting in a car?
No, that wasn't that idea. But like I said, what if everybody went outside and there was just you in the car? That would be a crazy situation.
That's like being John Malkovich. That's already a thing.
What?
This is a scene in Being John Malkovich when everyone's head turns into John Malkovich.
Word.
It's a good movie.
No, I'm saying you are in the car.
Like, it's
you walk out to get in your car to go to work, right?
Yeah.
But you're in the car,
Oh.
like it's just another you.
you.
Oh man.
And your neighbor is in the car too. And then your neighbor comes out to get in the car, but
Why?
they're in the car.
Why?
Who knows, man? Glitch in Matrix. That's why I said, what would you do with
You're
that
gonna have to read
situation?
your screenplay to find out
Yeah,
I never made it out of that part.
So
the Paul Rudd show.
Oh my
though.
god! You have like the first like
well, that's
30
different though,
seconds
because like
of
they
a Black
tweaked
Mirror
that
episode.
clone.
They didn't tweak him. They just the only difference between them was that he was fresh and like enjoyed life because he didn't have life before. That was the only difference.
Or are we talking about the Rajneeshis?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna try to get back to that. So 19 Rolls Royces. She was being
All right,
pretty aggro.
Where are we at? Where are we at here in the
In the Rajneesh
in the story?
They armed up. They already
the Hollywood
brought in the
people-
homeless.
Hollywood people are there.
people. They were going to start taking her position, and she got scared.
Yes. Okay.
That's where
This
we're
is
at.
exactly where we're at. So Sheila fucking sees that the Hollywood people are now interacting with the Bhagwan, and she like tries to shut that shit down. And Bhagwan's like, "No, I love them. They give me diamonds."
They bought him his first $1 million Rolex.
And he was
straight
like,
diamonds. My dude walks on stage in the prayer stance, Rolex showing.
"Yes, yes, over the robes."
On the side of the crowd.
Unbelievable drip, honestly.
Yes, unbelievable drip. So he's like, "Fuck that noise, Sheila. You're not the only one who's talking to me anymore." Because before all this happened, Bhagwan didn't talk to anybody for a whole year. He went
into isolation.
He went into isolation, and like fucking the feds were trying to talk to him about like whether or not this was a religion, and she was like, "No, he's our religious leader."
Because at this point in time, they tried deporting him because they didn't registered on his green card, I think, as a religious leader or a teacher or something like that. But basically, they showed like, hey, you have Rolls Royces, that you're not spending your own money. This is something completely different. And they tried deporting him on more of a technicality, if anything.
Right.
Which this is the whole thing. Everything that they try to do on the U.S. government side were based on very fine technicalities. There was no like black and white issues.
It was like reverse loopholing.
Right.
Exactly.
There has to be a way to stop this.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it was. They were scrambling to fucking shut these people
Because
down.
Sheila was a fucking savage, and Sheila knew the fucking law to like the T better than anybody else around.
Well, they did also have a very high class lawyer that followed the Rajneesh as well.
You are right. They had the heart, but Sheila was putting that shit into effect.
Right.
Like she was actually using his information.
Oh yeah, she
correctly.
actually listened to the highly qualified officials who were working with her.
So they're trying to deport my man Bhagwan, and Sheila is like just straight on the defense, like, "Pop, nope, out of here. Can't talk to him. He's a religious leader. Suck a dick. You ain't deporting shit." And she locked it down. She made it so that my man wasn't getting deported. And then these Hollywood motherfuckers pop up, and they start getting access to my man, and they're like, "Hey, you need to start talking to people again."
Start giving him drugs too.
Yeah, start giving him drugs too.
They started drugging the Bhagwan, man. Or
And
maybe they just moved him up to some stronger shit.
Yeah.
You know what
I think
I'm
they may have just moved up something stronger.
so then fucking he starts talking to people, and this is when things start going really awry for them, because like now the feds are like, "Oh, he talks to people again. Let us talk to him." And he's, I believe, said some shit where like he kind of was like, "I'm not a religion. I am a lifestyle coach," essentially. And they almost supported him over that shit, right? Like,
They were coming in to like, I know they were doing an investigation at this point and came in to like look around the fucking thing, and Sheila stopped them at like the gates basically with a big ass truck just stuck in the middle of the road. And like they walk up and they're like, "Come on, Sheila, like move the fucking truck." And she's like, "What do you mean truck? I don't know about no truck." What's going on? I just got here. What are you talking about?
I do want to add, like, at this point in time, after the bombing, they started almost, not intentionally intended, but religiously training with firearms to the point where they were more qualified and probably more deadly than pretty much any of the hunters or outside police
I mean, they had a
force.
mini army.
They definitely
had a mini
did
army.
build a whole ass shooting range, and like we're training the hippies how to shoot guns, and it was great. Like,
And like, it wasn't just like a team of 10 people. Everybody went through training.
right.
Everybody on that compound was qualified to hold a semi-automatic
who
rifle.
was the one that kept saying was like the great shot?
It was this like
It was
little
that,
lady.
yeah, little lady.
Linda?
Was that the New Zealand lady?
Yeah, it was the New Zealand lady.
Yeah, they're like, hey, she knows what she's doing. She's going to teach you what to do.
Oh,
next.
that is another part that happened when they were trying to take over the county. That kind of got glanced over. They were going to assassinate the dude that was pushing the most to have them removed.
Yes, it was either the...
And it was the dude
Senator or
that actually
governor?
changed the law for them not to be able to vote.
Yeah.
They were going to assassinate him.
Oh yeah.
But then they did.
Yeah.
They did not assassinate.
But that's what ended up getting Sheila arrested, right?
Conspiracy
was the conspiracy
to commit murder.
Commit assassination, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also a second attempt at assassination, which was also failed as
Oh, the
well.
doctor. They tried to kill the doctor.
I don't remember
What
this
doctor?
part.
They tried to
So-
kill the Bhagwan's doctor, the Hollywood doctor.
Yeah, the Hollywood
Oh,
doctor
yeah.
that the Bhagwan was talking to, because Sheila also bugged the Bhagwan's house, by the way, to listen to his conversations without his knowledge. Let's throw that in there.
Fucking Sheila was a gangster out here. Like,
But through these recordings, she found out that he wanted to commit suicide. So he talked to the Hollywood doctor and asked him, what's the most painless way to die? And he basically told him morphine.
right.
Now, she heard this. She panicked. She grabbed her inner circle and basically told them, hey, they're going to kill the Bhagwan. The Bhagwan says that he wants to die. We can't let that happen. He's just in a weird place right now. So basically, she then said, the doctor has to die. Who will do it?
And they volunteered my girl Linda.
Yeah.
Which
New
was supposed
Zealand
to be
lady.
the shooter, too.
Yeah, she was the shooter.
She is the second
was
savage of the
supposed
squad.
She was supposed to take that said morphine or something, some other chemical, stab the doctor, have him OD on it, and then that was supposed to be it.
I mean, she did stab him.
She did stab him in the ass, but he did not die.
They did not inject enough morphine into him. Fucked him up, but he didn't die.
Fucked him up for a brief moment, and then he felt nothing.
Then that is when Sheila escapes.
Yeah, she takes a portion of the followers. And
I
she's like,
believe they
Not
fled
even a
to
portion. She takes her
Switzerland?
inner circle. Like she takes the stabber, the other girl that was in the meeting.
like the immediate 7 people that were planning this and fled.
I thought it was like 25 of them that left with her.
There wasn't that much.
I don't think
Fled
it
to
was
where?
that much. Europe.
I believe it was Switzerland.
Yeah, I think it was like a little town. in
Somewhere with like
Switzerland.
no
And
extradition.
then they did
More or
a
less.
they did an interview with fucking magazine was it?
I don't know, but I know Sheila
It was a
posted
big
nude for
magazine.
one of
Sure.
them.
Yeah, and she did a centerfold nude and told the story about like why she left and shit. And, how
And then after that, people started noticing that she was there, and that's how they got found, because she had posed nude for that article. But here's the thing: after they arrested her and brought her to jail, there were fucking guards coming at this magazine asking for a fucking autograph in jail.
well, Sheila was popular.
It's a big move. That's
I bet you Sheila definitely had a whole bunch of fucking people being her bitch in jail. I'm not going to lie.
I will say that Sheila is such a savage. She's the most thug out of all of them. Bhagwan's a bitch because he started blowing down on Sheila.
Yeah,
after
yeah.
She left, but Sheila never blew down on Bhagwan.
Never once.
Oh, yeah.
She never.
She did her
she-
time like a savage. Was like, fuck
After-
it, I'm out of here.
After she left and fled to Europe, basically the Bhagwan just went yeah, she's a bitch, she's a whore,
She's
she
trying to take
sucks,
my power.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
power obsessed.
She's
the one doing all the illegal stuff. I have no idea what was going on.
She made all the rules, but you know it was a Bhagwan. Man.
And then almost immediately afterwards, the Rajneeshis start to crumble in America because they're like,
they have no Sheila.
they have no Sheila, and they were doing what's the word I'm looking for? Where you come to America illegally?
They were doing
Immigration
marriage
fraud.
Oh, they were doing hella immigration.
Yeah,
fraud.
so
Or marriage fraud.
this is one of the few crimes they were confirmed to actually commit. Basically, they'd take 2 Rajneeshi members, they'd have them move to a city, they'd have them live there for a few months, and they would go and try to get married through the court. Once that they were officially married and they were American citizens at that point, or the other one was American citizen, they would go their separate ways and probably not see each other again. And they would do that many, many times to try to just get people immediately U.S. citizenship.
Yep.
So that is,
they made the dumbass law that if you marry somebody, they're just automatically a citizen. It's pretty easy to get married.
that's still
50
around.
bucks. No, that's what I'm saying. $50.
I mean, $50 to
court,
get all the United
with
States
an
rights
ID,
is
you're
not
married.
really that bad of a deal.
But yeah, so the Rajneeshis collapse. Sheila goes to jail along with her assassin buddy. And
Actually, she did not go to jail.
I thought the assassin girl did go to jail. She just
No,
served less time than Sheila.
They gave her time served because she was still hidden, but her son was still out.
Her son was
either on the
going to die.
Yeah, her son
Her
was
son was
about to
gonna
die,
die.
either I think of leukemia or something similar, and she knew that if she went out that she'd be arrested, so she gave herself up. She went to court. She was found guilty, but the jury and I believe the judge gave her time served, so that way she could go spend her time with her dying son.
They did do that.
So she did not go to jail, but because she had enough balls to go out and say, hey, here I am. I just want to be with my kid before he passes. I don't care what happens to me after. They saw it as a good move and just,
Sheila
they
was
paid her
terrible.
her good favor.
And Sheila talked shit in jail.
Oh, yeah.
In the interview in jail. She didn't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. She was like, whatever, I did what I did. We did great things over there. Because they did.
Yeah, I mean, they were good people overall. Like,
She was like, I never tried to hurt anybody or got any guns until they fucking blew our shit up.
yep, you fucking, when you push a fucking good person to be a bad person, they're gonna do bad shit, period. Like, my overall takeaway from this was like, the people of Oregon were fucking, was it Oregon or Colorado?
Oregon.
Oregon. The people of Oregon were extremely xenophobic and fucking unwilling to accept that they were being...
There was different lifestyles.
Yeah, they were being turned into not the majority of their town, and they fucking ruined hella people's lives over it, essentially.
Basically, the older retirees that were part of, quote here, the greatest generation that lived, got upset that they were now a minority and that their opinion wasn't the most favored.
Yep. Yeah.
And with that rose threats of violence towards Rajneeshis, which then escalated into everything collapsing.
Right.
That would have been wild if there was just this one small like
county,
this county in Oregon that just had this crazy Indian population that was just like a fucking cult compound.
Majority of the Rajneeshis weren't even Indian.
Yeah,
They were all like European.
A lot of Americans, I believe Americans were the most prominent.
So it would have been like if a fucking Indian guru ran a socialist county in fucking America. Like, it's just one little socialist county.
That's there have been pretty like they're not coming at it from a religious or philosophical standpoint, but there have been some pretty successful local government socialists. A lot of people around Wisconsin ran around the 1900s as socialist mayors and just like operated their cities like that.
Word.
Also,
sewer socialists, they put in public works and stuff.
I also want to throw out that the BBC did also help contribute to a smear campaign against the Rajneeshis. They had a videotaped, I don't know what you want to call it, meditation session or whatever, therapy session. There's a lot of words that may or may not fit it, and I can't give the most accurate one. But basically, it was this large padded room. There was like maybe 15 to 20 Rajneeshis. They were all naked, and it immediately started with a lot of screaming, like very primal, angry screaming. And at first it looked like there's also a lot of violence involved. It looked like people were like hurting each other.
I mean, he was slamming that bitch on the floor pretty hard.
I don't know if he was actually slamming her or if she was just like
I'm pretty sure he was slamming her,
shaking.
I seen people get slammed on the floor.
It's a one point of view for this entire thing, so it's really hard to say exactly what the fuck was going on. But then after all this screaming and all this apparent violence, they started dancing.
Well, the thing is, you don't see the whole thing either.
You're right. You don't see the whole thing.
Clip of like each interaction that they're having, but you don't hear like the words they're saying in between it.
You're right.
So like you really don't know like why they're doing it.
But like this was like put into like theaters in like the UK to show like how outrageous these people are, and like
it was
how
put in theaters in Oregon.
That as well. But like I said, this was originally filmed by the BBC, so it was the British Broadcasting Company. But like they just like tried showing like, hey, these people have such a wildly different point of view and way of living life that is contrary to how you are. And then a lot of people who were mostly just traditional either Christians or Catholics took it more as an offense and like, wow, there's a lot of satanic shit going on over there.
So in conclusion, fuck people who can't understand that, you know, some people want to live differently, and the Rajneeshis did nothing wrong.
Agreed.
Almost nothing wrong.
Almost nothing wrong.
I mean, they did some things wrong, but only after being pushed to do something wrong.
Right.
So.
The worst thing they did. The marriage fraud was probably the worst.
Honestly, I could have felt less about the marriage fraud.
That's my point.
Like, it's stupid, but that's even a law.
I was talking about him like fucking a 16-year-old at some point. Like that's the one. That's
that drugging
the homeless people.
Yeah, that was bad too.
Again, is the worst thing that they did.
This is the post-bombing thing that happened.
Yeah, they were bombed. Like, they were literally bombed.
I mean,
their big building was bombed. That's why they had to go to the war with the Middle East. Wait, what? What are we talking about now?
Literally. All right, with that, that's not Jeremy's Hipsters, baby.
Later, people.